Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Former WWE head writer Vince Russo feels Karrion Kross needs to speak with Triple H about his booking. The star has consistently lost matches on Raw over the last couple of weeks. Kross turned his attention to the Intercontinental Championship this week as he competed in a #1 contender tournament. However, Kross lost a main event JUSO as he took the Spear Splash combination for the pin in the triple threat match that also involved Kofi Kingston. This week on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw, Russo urged the star to air his grievances. He felt Kross should give Triple H an ultimatum to either put him in a prominent position or let him go. The former writer felt that the Harbinger of Doom could fetch a commanding salary in other promotions as well. Opening up his mouth. He's got to say, listen man, either use me or release me. I mean seriously. We talked before about who was protecting that brand. Who do we talk about? You got to protect your brand because they're beating the dude to death now. He means zero. I don't want to say it's not doing him any good. I'm sure he's getting a hefty paycheck. But he can get a hefty paycheck elsewhere. 49:36 onwards, Triple H was booking NXT when Kross was the champion in the promotion and had a dominating run. It will be interesting to see if the star can turn around his luck on the red brand. The dimly lit hallway outside Triple H's office in the WWE headquarters had witnessed countless confrontations, but none like the one about to take place. A former champion, disgruntled and desperate, was preparing to confront the man who had once been his greatest supporter, Triple H. The champ's frustration had been simmering for months, fueled by lackluster booking and missed opportunities that left him feeling underutilized and undervalued. Now, with his career at a crossroads, he had reached his breaking point. It was time for a face-to-face conversation that could change everything. The struggle of a former champion in the world of WWE, where the spotlight can shift in an instant, staying relevant is a constant battle. The former champion, a wrestler who had once held the United States Championship with pride, had found himself slipping further down the card, reduced to forgettable matches and meaningless segments. Once a prominent figure on WWE programming, his character had become stagnant, his storylines uninspired. Fans who had once cheered his name were now questioning why someone with his talent and charisma was being wasted. The former champ felt it too, the sting of being sidelined, the frustration of seeing others rise while he was stuck in the same place. He had tried to be patient, to trust the process, but patience had its limits. An exclusive revelation. The tension behind the scenes was palpable, and whispers of discontent had begun to circulate among WWE employees. It wasn't just the former champion who was feeling the strain, those who had worked closely with him were concerned as well. An ex-WWE employee, who had been part of the creative team, revealed in an exclusive interview that the former champ's situation was far from unique. There's a lot of frustration backstage, the ex-employee confided. A lot of guys feel like they're not being used to their full potential, but in his case, it's particularly frustrating. He's a proven talent, a former champion, but the booking just hasn't been there for him. He's been vocal about it too, which is why this confrontation with Triple H isn't surprising. He's reached a point where it's either they use him properly, or he's out. The ex-employee's words painted a grim picture of the backstage atmosphere. It was clear that the former champion wasn't alone in his feelings, but he was the one ready to take a stand. The confrontation with a determined expression, the former champion knocked on the door of Triple H's office. It opened almost immediately, and there stood the WWE's Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, looking as imposing as ever. Triple H's eyes narrowed as he took in the sight of the man before him. He knew this conversation was inevitable. "Come in," Triple H said, his tone measured but not unkind. The former champion stepped inside, his heart pounding in his chest. He had rehearsed this moment in his head countless times, but now that it was happening, he felt a mix of anger and anxiety. He had always respected Triple H, after all, it was the game who had given him some of his biggest opportunities in WWE. But respect couldn't keep him silent anymore. "Hunter, we need to talk," the former champion began, his voice steady despite the turmoil he felt inside. Triple H gestured to a chair, and the former champ sat down, leaning forward slightly, his hands clasped together. "What's on your mind?" Triple H asked, though he likely already knew the answer. The former champion took a deep breath. "I've been with this company for years. I've busted my ass to get where I am. But lately, I feel like I'm being pushed aside. The booking, the storylines, it's like I don't matter anymore. I'm a former champion, but you wouldn't know it by looking at how I've been used lately." Triple H remained silent, listening intently. The former champion continued, his voice rising slightly with emotion. "I'm at a point where I have to say this: either use me or release me. I can't keep going like this, being an afterthought. I deserve better, and you know it." Triple H's response. The room fell into an uneasy silence after the former champion's declaration. Triple H's expression was unreadable, a mix of contemplation and concern. After what felt like an eternity, he finally spoke. "I hear you," Triple H said, his voice calm but firm. "And I understand where you're coming from. But you have to understand, there are a lot of moving parts in this business. Not every story we want to tell can be told at the same time. That doesn't mean you're not valued or that we've forgotten about you." The former champion shook his head, frustration evident in his eyes. "It feels like I've been forgotten. I've done everything that's been asked of me, and yet here I am, going nowhere. I'm not asking for special treatment, I'm asking for an opportunity to prove myself, to remind everyone who I am." Triple H leaned back in his chair, his gaze never leaving the former champion's face. "You're right," he admitted. "You've been loyal, and you've earned your place here. But sometimes, we have to wait for the right moment, the right storyline, to give someone the push they deserve. And trust me, I want that for you. I've seen what you can do, and I know there's more to come." The former champion's anger began to ebb slightly, but he wasn't entirely convinced. "And if that moment doesn't come? What then?" Triple H leaned forward, his tone softening. "If that moment doesn't come soon, we'll figure out what needs to change. But I'm asking you to trust me a little longer. I believe in you, and I believe there's still a lot you can accomplish here." A turning point. The former champion studied Triple H's face, searching for any sign of insincerity. But all he saw was the man who had once championed his rise to the top. It wasn't an easy decision, but the former champion knew he had to give Triple H the benefit of the doubt, at least for now. "All right," the former champion said finally, his voice steady. "I'll trust you. But I need to see things change soon. I can't keep doing this forever." Triple H nodded. "I understand. And I promise you, things will change." As the former champion left the office, he couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and uncertainty. The conversation had been necessary, but whether it would lead to the change he desperately needed remained to be seen. All he could do now was wait, and hope that Triple H's promise would be more than just words.